like all these different things. I have all that, but it's still not be enough for what they're looking for.
Right.
But it doesn't have anything to do with me. And for a long time, I held on to, is this tied to my own self-worth and who I am and what I can deliver and what I can do?
What's up, everybody? We're all at the field with Isaiah Robinson, special guest Briana Dubose. How you doing today?
I'm good. I'm like, all these cameras, which camera should I be looking at? Or should I be looking at you?
You're going to be...
At this one?
The main one, yeah.
What's up? I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to chat with you.
I'm excited for you to be here as well. Briana is a D1 college athlete. She's now a lead management consultant by day and a professor at Georgetown by night. She's also an author of ABCs for college athletes. So, Bree, talk to me about your journey and just how'd you get to being a professor, creating a book for athletes, and just your life.
Wow, that's a huge question. So, my journey was really unconventional, to be honest, and it all happened because certain opportunities closed when others opened. So, I'm going to come back to that point, and it's all going to make sense. So, I'm going to just take it from high school. Well, I'll take it back. I'm born and raised Prince George's County, first and foremost. And I'm excited to be in the DMV because it's always home. And it's always cool to be able to connect with other people, other former athletes, other current athletes that are going through similar things in the DMV because it's like I can relate. Sports here is so rich in history and competition. It's constantly ranked teams and all of that good stuff. And so I really cherish it. From high school, speeding up a little bit because I'm like, we could be here all day talking about my entire life story. But from high school, I went to Bishop McNamara High School in Forestville in the WCAC. And then I ended up going to VCU for my first 2 years of college and then transferring to American for my last 2 years in college. In the midst of that, I had a lot of injuries. I don't know what happened at 18, but it was like my body was like, we're going to start breaking down. We're going to start
adding a toll on you.
Yeah. I had no major injuries, a couple of like ankle sprains or like cuts and bruises and stuff from playing ball. But something about turning 18 and going off to school, it was just like the wear and tear and intensity of the constant start and go and how long you had to do that every single day was a wear and tear and ended up taking me to, freshman year I had a knee surgery. So that was my first season-ending injury. And then my sophomore year I was healthy, but a new coach came and she pretty much forced me out. So this is like the equivalent of if your boss is making you miserable or there's a lot going on at your office and they just want to like force you out of what you're doing. We had 3 recruits that were coming in. We had a full roster. So 3 of us had to leave. And it was a lot a lot less transparent back then when it came to transferring or wanting to move around rosters. Now with the transfer portal, it's like, it is what it is. Right. I think of Deion Sanders, he's like, it is what it is. Hit the portal. This is the off season for recruitment. And so that was kind of her way of pushing me out. And she's just like, takes me in her office and I have another coach who's across from me. You know, it's always a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-1 meeting. It's like really intense thing. And she goes, you'll never play for me. No matter what you do. Like straight up. I'm 19 at this point. So that doesn't sound like something where you transfer on your own or you're not satisfied with your school. It's like, no matter what you do, it's a no. So got forced out. Thankfully, though, because I was coming off of injury, everything fell into place because everybody knew that I could still hoop. It was just like I was living my freshman year over again with a new coach who didn't recruit me. So everyone understood the logistics because if you're in the basketball world or even in the sports world in general, you know that it's a business, number one. And number two, injuries happen, things happen, but it doesn't necessarily change your ability to do what you do. So I decided to go to AU, to American University. And the reason was because I was like, man, I got to sit out. Again, present day, you can transfer and just roll. Right. And just roll. Be able to play, be able to do everything. And I had to sit out. And so I knew that if I had to sit out, I wasn't going to feel as fulfilled doing that somewhere far away, where my family couldn't reach me, where I couldn't go home and get that love and support and guidance from family and from home while I'm dealing with, hey, we're going away for a game and we're going to leave you here for 3-4 days. Peace out. Stay in shape, though, because we need you on the practice team. It was a lot mentally, and I had to kind of fend for myself while the team was gone. So transferred, sat out, a lot of empty promises that were made. And that's another thing about college coaches. They recruit you. They tell you, you're going to be starting, you're going to be doing this, you're going to be doing that. And that didn't come to fruition. My senior year, my playing time was really sporadic. It was off and on. And by then, I was just kind of over it, to be honest. I was like, I think by junior and senior year, it just starts to make sense or like lack thereof. Because you're basically saying to yourself, I'm putting all of my time, energy, effort, blood, sweat, and tears into this sport, and what is it giving back to me? So I kind of started to do a little mental assessment. And then by probably like January, February, I ended up with another season-ending injury.
Oh, wow.
And I hurt my back, and that was probably the scariest one. Because if you've never hurt your back before, you don't understand that your back, all those nerve endings are connected to everything in your body. So I could barely move, and it was very scary because I'm 21 years old with 2 partially ruptured discs in my back, which were going to go undiagnosed if I would have left it up to the athletic trainers, because they were like, oh, you're just having a back spasm. Oh, you'll be good. I go to the doctors, and doctors laugh in my face.
Wow.
They're like, actually, year out for the season. You have 2 partially ruptured discs in your lumbar spine. And if you don't stop now, that could be a full rupture because you already have like some leakage. And that was really scary. And I will remember that diagnosis for the rest of my life. And the doctor laughing in my face, but like, girl, sit your butt down.
You don't know yet.
It's like, crazy. You're 21 and this is happening to you. So it's a no. And truth be told, I was willing to run through a wall for this game, but it just didn't feel like it was giving anything back to me anymore. It was just like, you're constantly doing the same thing and expecting a different result, but it was like insanity. So fast forwarding a little bit more, I was back on my parents' couch, back in their house, broke. Trying to figure out my life. That first year out of playing sports is really tough because I played sports for 17 years of my life. That rolled into what do I do now? And to be so young and having done something for so long and then it comes to an abrupt end, you're like, woo, this is rough. Right. And I potentially had 2 extra years of eligibility but didn't take it. And the reason was because my injuries and coaches and politics and business, I was like, I'm over it. Right. This is the math and ain't mathing no more.
Right.
So
they just out of your control.
Absolutely. And it doesn't make sense because you're like, okay, now I'm grown, now I'm 21 plus, and I'm like, I don't like you talking to me like that. Right. This ain't making sense. The way that you're moving, the way that I don't get to pick my classes, the way that I don't have autonomy or the ability to choose where my life is going, it doesn't sit well with my spirit. So I moved. I moved back to my parents' house. Ended basketball, didn't take up those 2 years, and then decided to work. I hated office life. I worked briefly at an investment firm, but was miserable. I was like, man, I go from being so active to I'm sitting in a cubicle for 8-9 hours a day, and then I'm sitting on the train for 2 hours a day because the metro, I got to go from Bowie, or I was taking the Largo train, so I was taking Largo to Arlington, and I was like, man, this is exhausting. Right. So I applied to grad school at the same time, which was one of the best decisions of my life. I go to the University of Pennsylvania. Woo!
Go UPenn.
Woo! I loved my school. Like that was the first school that I can genuinely say that I loved, that I am proud to be an alumni of, and I'm proud to be an alumni of my other schools as well. But because my experience was split, it just feels like I'm pulled in different directions. And we were talking a little bit off camera about those experiences, and they were drastically different, but then combined, they make up my college experience. And I mean, we've talked a little bit about you transferring as well. Like, it's like some schools offered you this and you appreciate them for that. Other schools offered you this and you appreciate them for what they offered. So it's a little bit different. So I ended up going to Penn, and that was my first active choice of like not anything related to sports. I get to do what I want to do. I get to invest in my life the way that I want to invest in. And that was my commitment to myself. That was my commitment to, all right, where do I want to go next? How do I want to reclaim what I didn't get to do in college? Because I wasn't joining no clubs. I wasn't doing all the things that I'm doing now. I didn't know what I wanted to do because I didn't have time to do it and invest in extracurricular things. Shoot, I may have been a really cool podcaster or like, I think at NIL now, I'm like, man, I would have my own business in college or been able to really invest in myself and my creative side a lot more, and even playing other sports. I'm like, shoot, soccer was my second favorite sport. So Penn was great because I was able to do all of that in a way that was able to foster community, healing, and growth for me. So graduated Penn, peak pandemic in 2020. So I didn't really know where I wanted to go. I wanted to work in sports, but there were a bunch of hiring freezes. So I got a great advice from an exec that said, go create your own thing. Well, he was like, either create your own thing or work for someone for free while they're on the hiring freeze. And I said, work for someone for free? I do not condone free internships. That's absolutely crazy and egregious. Like volunteer internships for major companies. This company was a major sports brand. Like think top 5 sports brands in the world. You mean work for you for free?
I don't get the money.
What you mean? Like, so I went the opposite route and created my own thing. I created Black and Ballin', which was my brand to talk about issues that Black athletes face and also how be able to capture all the things that Black athletes were doing when it came to social activism and speaking out for human rights and against police brutality and all the things that were happening in 2020. And it was really cool. It was a launching pad. That rolled into me creating the ABCs for college athletes because I felt like I had more to say. I felt like I did a lot of research in college, well, a little bit in college, but more so in grad school about sports and higher ed and all of that good stuff. But I wanted to put it in a book because it would last longer. And then that rolled into my own consulting company because people started asking me to speak and do fun stuff.
That's amazing.
That is my story. That's why I was like, we could be here all day.
That's
but
amazing.
I like to give a full view of the story, and then we can talk about the other things later. But that's pretty much how it got to be. It just kind of rolled into other things because I was told no. I was told not now. I was told you will never play here. I was like all these different things. So that's what happened.
Let's talk about that because that's an amazing story. But it's also like athletes go through that daily as well too. So let's talk. I got fired from a job being a college quarterback, so I had to transfer to portal too. The coach told me you're not gonna play here. I'm like, damn. So that hit me hard. I'm like, I'm producing. I'm doing all this for y'all. And at the end of the season for the exit meeting, one time I couldn't come back. So talk to me about like. Athletes don't realize, but your scholarship is a year-to-year thing. And just because the coach would be like, just because you say you're not going to play for me or you can't be here, like you literally can't be there. They'll take your scholarship away. So talk to me about that. Just talk to me what you were thinking throughout that day.
Oh, man. I got a flashback in my brain, but let's see. First off, the meetings are extremely unbalanced, like the power dynamic, because it's not just a one-on-one in a safe space to be able to talk to your coach. It's almost like they're inciting fear in you. It's 2-on-1 or it's 3-on-1, and it's not like it's not like I knew how to advocate for myself back then as well as I do now, or that I could have hired legal counsel to walk into a meeting with me, or even had my parents there with me. It was like, you're going to be here and you're going to have to take whatever we say, basically, and roll with it. So I just remember being really nervous, not knowing what to expect, knowing that progressively throughout the year, my body was healing and I was also playing well, but that we have a new coach who's enacting a new system and is over recruiting, bringing both transfers in mid-semester or mid-year, and also the fact that there are 15 roster spots that are all filled. So I'm like, I'm doing the math, and the math is mathing. Like, somebody has to go, you know? And so I just remember being really nervous. I remember when she said that being heartbroken, because I was like, man, like, when you give your all, and I think that was the first time that I realized, well, I could finally put this into words years later, but mentally I realized you could do everything. You could do everything that they're asking for you to do. My grades were good. I was an upstanding student athlete in person. My teammates liked me, like all these different things. I have all that, but it's still not be enough for what they're looking for. But it doesn't have anything to do with me. And for a long time I held on to, is this tied to my own self-worth and who I am and what I can deliver and what I can do? And I was just, because you're not, I was 19. So I was like, oh, they don't like me. Oh, I'm not enough. I gotta do it. I'm like, no. I am enough. What I offer is great. But it's not what they want. You know? So I have to sit with that, because that doesn't have anything to do with me. Her crazy coaching style and back and forth and a roller coaster ride of emotions and everything else that we've been through, that has nothing to do with me.
You just said something crazy too. They be trying to play mind games with the athletes too. So it's not like it's just a genuine connection all the time. Like, they don't try to make you play mind games. It's not like they don't know what they're doing. And then on top of that, you going there because they're supposed to be a mentor to you. But sometimes some coaches take that mentorship and use it for granted. And just use it for their own personal gain. So that's the difference I seen with college and high school. Because like in high school, it's more genuine because you're not getting paid. It still can be a job for them, but here it's just a little bit different. Like you got the politics, like you said. You got coaches. One little thing you do on practice field cannot make you play for the rest of the season. For sure. Or you ask for feedback and be like, what am I doing wrong? Or what do I need to do? And then that blows up in practice. And I'm like, dang, like all I did was ask for like, what's going, like, how can I play more? Or what do you need from me? Or communication. It's like the most unhealthy workplace dynamic. So if you equate this to work, and because now I'm a management consultant and my job is to look at organizations, how to make them better, how to improve how teams work together, how we deliver information, and ultimately how to make them more money. But this workplace relationship is so unhealthy. You have a coach playing mind games, doing back and forth stuff, essentially pushing you out. You have a child, but not a child. You're a young adult. In some ways, it's the back and forth for me, Zay, because it's like, on one hand, they want you to follow all the rules and only listen to them, and they're going to tell you what to do, when to eat, where to go, how to be, what, like how to represent the university, and they want all the control. But then if anything hits the fan, or if they don't want you, or you aren't representing what they need, it's, oh, you adult, like sign this, sign these papers, you out, blah, blah, blah. Like, so it's a really interesting push and pull. And then to your point about mind games, they weaponize the word family. Like, to this day, my mom is still upset about how coaches, when they were recruiting me, about how, oh, we're a family, we're this, we're that. My family don't talk to me like this. My family does not treat me like this. My family does not make me feel like this is a transactional relationship, that if I don't perform a certain way, or if I'm falling short because I'm literally exhausted, that I'm going to just be thrown to the wayside. It's like they dangle your scholarship in front of you like a carrot. And so flashing back to that day, I was feeling nervous. I was feeling just really stressed. I didn't know what was going to happen.
essentially just, it felt like I was being fired. It's crazy. It's like, it's not a job, but it's a job.
Right.
And you don't understand all the politics at play at the time. And I remember the tears flowed. You can't cry during the meeting, but after the meeting,
right.
in the shower, I was like, because it was more than just a firing. It was, now I'm being detached from people that I actually consider family to this day, my teammates, and who I love and appreciate and have grown so much through. It's like a trauma bond, honestly. You're just like, you're united through the struggle, but people that I still am connected with to this day, I was forced from leaving them, forced from not finishing my degree at a place that I had chosen to be my forever school, forced to pretty much leave from a place that I was 75% done my degree, because we had summer classes and stuff, to now I'm losing 12 credits, or I'm losing, I have to lose a semester's worth of credits because now I'm transferring from a state school to a private school, and all these different things to consider. And it was a lot. And there's so many things that I could reflect on about that day and about that year, to be honest, and just from how we were treated and how we were spoken to just things that would raise a lot of eyebrows, put it that way. Because everybody has stories, but like some things that go on in college athletics, you'd be like, what?
Yeah.
It does not hit, like it doesn't hit national news.
Right.
But like it's a lot going on. Like there's a lot going on. And it's just like to overcome all of that and really be riding for a program and a school, all to just be told, actually, we don't want you.
Right.
It was a lot. It was very disheartening and it took me a long time to process. Like I held on to it for a while.
Right.
Put it that way.
Okay. So I believe that everything happens for a reason, right? I'm a firm believer in that. And your story and your journey makes you who you are, and you learn lessons from them just to go about it in the future, right? So I remember one time, the politics when it comes to sports. I seen the politics. I seen what they was doing with one quarterback, right? Because I play quarterback, and he transferred them from a higher division, higher school, but they was playing politics. So I told the coach, I'm like, yo, coach, the head coach, I want to have a one-on-one meeting, because the year prior to that, they played politics again. So I was like, I just want a fair competition, a fair battle, right? I get in trouble. Let me tell you, he calls the whole staff into that meeting room when I asked just to be one-on-one with him. So now I got 7, 8 of the whole coaching staff on there, and I'm talking to them, asking for a fair opportunity. And that just backfired on me so crazy. It's just like mind games. It's like, yo, like, you brought me in here, and you're supposed to be taking care of me. I'm under your wing, but it doesn't feel like it, because you playing mind games, you playing with, like you said, this is something we put our blood, sweat, and tears in it since we was young. So for things to not be in your control, no matter how well you perform or you put your body on the line every day, like you said, you got injuries, and you can have some fluke injuries. You can hurt your body just by practicing. So when you realize that it's really a different level, and you realize like some things aren't out of your control, but whatever happens to you going to make you a better person at the end of the day. So coaches are big on control what you can control, because that's another mind tactic they can do, because you can't control nothing that's going on. But
that's the one. You can't control anything.
Right.
There is nothing in this world that you can control, like at all. I mean, some people will argue like, you can control how you react. And I'm like, in some cases, that's called emotional regulation. Good people. But in other cases, you're just going to react how you're going to react, and you're going to have to process how you're going to process, because some things just come at you hard. And you're not just like, I'm just going to like be able to just do this in such a very strategic way. It's like, no, you just let it go. And nothing in this world is promised.
Right.
Like, nothing. And it's really sad how things can backfire, because as we move, so You mentioned it a little bit earlier. I do teach at Georgetown. I co-teach with Professor Harris. Hey, Professor Harris, if you watch this.